fish from a boat, or you can stand on shore, or you can use a pontoon with carpet on the floor. You can sit upon a dock or wait out.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. Christmas is just about here, and if you haven't bought that perfect gift for the steelhead angler in your life, well, I've got it for you. It's a 2-volume book set. It's called Wild Steelhead, The Lure and Lore of a Pacific Northwest Icon. We've got the author with us today, Sean Gallagher. Sean, welcome to the show. Congratulations on this wonderful book set.
Thank you, John.
This is really a labor of love, and folks, I got to tell you, it's a well-done one at that. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about what they're going to find between the covers of these 2 books that you've written, Sean?
Well, it is, like you said, it's a great big double-volume book. We had to do it in two volumes. We couldn't get all the material in one book. And the publisher challenged me. He said, I refuse to take any material out. If you want to make it one book, you're going to have to take it out. And it was just, we couldn't do it. So it's over 600 pages. It has rich photos and illustrations. It includes my personal memoirs spanning probably over 50 years. There's long interview chapters, 11 of those. And those are some of the pioneers in the steelheading in the Northwest. And some of them are peers that are making a difference right now.
Right.
There's stories throughout the book, probably spanning well over 3 generations. I think that, as far as I'm concerned, the flame was starting to flicker. And there's been some books that have been out in the last couple decades that are great books, but I just needed to be another narrative. And somebody had to throw a match on the fire, and that's what I did, was just throw a match on the fire. And what came out is now the fire's flaming again, and the stories are starting to come back, and it's interesting watching people. They open the book, and the first thing they do is thumb through the photos.
Oh, yes.
And then they stop, and they got a story for me. And then when they start reading, they're calling me up and emailing me with more stories. And I couldn't ask for anything more. I mean, the flames are going again. I couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Well, Sean, you're absolutely right. These around the campfire segments are basically stories and biographies, like you said, of not only pioneers, but some modern-day steelheaders, too. And these stories take place not just around the Northwest, but in some places around the world. You're actually going fishing in Russia in one of these stories. And we'll get into this a little bit more in a minute. But first off, let's talk about the fish themselves. The steelhead, they are truly an iconic symbol of the Northwest, but there's some misconceptions about them, and there's a lengthy foreword in the book, and it goes into the biology of steelhead. What are a couple of myths surrounding these fish that people think of as fact?
Well, first of all, that's John McMillan, and he's done some incredible work on the Olympic Peninsula, and he started working over there with Wild Salmon Center and some of the local tribes over there, and he has gone places nobody's gone. He's snorkeled with the fish at night. He has rich photographs of underwater photographs of the fish at all stages. But I think John says it in there, steelhead are not salmon. They're rainbow trout.
Right.
And they're rainbow trout that for some reason decided they wanted to migrate, kind of like the steelheader. We travel all around. I guess they got to go out and see the world. But basically, they spend 2, 3, 4 years in fresh water, and then they migrate to the ocean. And that's where they really become a true steelhead, is when they attain their size. They come back from the ocean 1 to 3 or 4 years later, and they're just gorgeous creatures, the best game fish in North America. If you were to compare them with anything, it would be the Atlantic salmon, and the Atlantic salmon in Europe it's the sport of kings there.
Oh, yes.
But we've got this available here to the common man. It's just unbelievable. It's available to the common man. Unfortunately, it's in decline. The fishery's in decline. And we address a lot of that in the book, and part of it is in the biology. We try to help the reader through that. And all through the book, we explore the environmental impacts on the fish and our own impacts on the fish. And it makes us think about, hopefully, it makes us think about how we approach this incredible game fish and how we manage it.
You're listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Sean Gallagher. He's the author of Wild Steelhead, The Lure and Lore of a Pacific Northwest Icon. And like we talked about earlier, this book is full of stories, around the campfire stories, where you do in-depth profiles of steelhead angling pioneers. Tell me about a couple of your favorite interviews you did around the campfire.
Oh, my gosh. I'd have to start with Harry Lemire. He's a mentor. I met him when I was 15 years old and close to 62 now. He was a member of the Steelhead Trout Club of Washington at the time, Washington, and I became a member at 17. You were not allowed to join until you were 17, but I hung around down there, and those guys took me under their wing. And Harry and I kind of separated there. He left the club, and some years went by, and then we got reacquainted again near our home river, the Upper Green River. So I spent many a night watching Harry and occasionally fishing with him because we fished apart. But he was always there. Sometimes I'd sneak up and watch him through the woods, and then we'd sit down together and have a chat. But I spent time in his basement when he was tying flies, and his wife would bring us desserts. And to me, it was very special. Sadly, shortly after we finished our work with Harry, he passed away. And so the book is in memory of Harry.
You know, I see that you've got one of my favorite anglers in your book as well, Mia Shepard. I've always considered this Eastern Oregon angler as a short woman who carries a very big stick in the form of a spey rod, and boy, she knows how to use it, doesn't she?
Well, you're absolutely right, and that was a home run. Those are the youngest people that I featured, was Marty and Mia Shepard and they own Little Creek Outfitters. But she is just a fireball. She's the women's champion spey caster, both distance and overall points. Incredible teacher, and a wonderful person, wonderful family. That's one of my favorite interviews, and to me, they represent the future of this sport, and they care about it. They work hard, they volunteer, and they also understand the tradition, and they keep up the tradition, and they have a tremendous respect for the resource.
I couldn't agree more. Now, believe it or not, we are almost out of time already. Christmas is literally just days away. If somebody wants to buy Wild Steelhead, the lure and lore of a Pacific Northwest icon, which, by the way, folks, is not only the perfect coffee table set of books, but also a wonderful read. And it's got 673 pages. It's 2 volumes. It's hardcover. It comes in a slipcase. Has more than 1,000 photographs and illustrations. Where can they get it, Sean?
It can only come from Wild River Press.
Okay, Wild River Press, that is the publisher, and their website, folks, is wildriverpress.com. Again, wildriverpress.com. That's where you want to go, wildriverpress.com, to buy Wild Steelhead, the lure and lore of a Pacific Northwest icon. I guarantee you, if you buy this for a steelhead angler in your family, they are going to treasure this book set for the rest of their life. Sean, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, John. Same to you.
All fish, Maple Lake, French Lake, Granite Lake, Cedar Lake, Pleasant Lake, Clear Lake, Bass Lake, Otter Lake, Goose Lake, Gull Lake, Round Lake, Pearl Lake, Rice Lake, Sugar Lake, Mud Lake, Long Lake, Ant Lake, Swan Lake, and Lake of the Woods. Oh, I fish everywhere.